Hey there, it's Meghan LeVota. Today I'm going to be talking a little bit about the difference between NI and NE, and this is going to be a little bit different than most of my videos that you're probably familiar with. Normally I'm on the screen and just sort of rambling, but I wanted to use this photo to really help me describe what I'm talking about. For those of you who are already a member of my Facebook group, you might recognize this. I'll put the link below if you aren't already a member. It's called Personality Typology for Self-Growth. So there we talk about how to use cognitive functions to empower ourselves to let go of limiting beliefs and how to understand other people better. So I was talking about NI and NE with one of my friends, and one of our communication issues that we were having led me to think of this specific photo that I've seen on the internet before. And the more I learn about these functions, guys, the more I realize that NE and SE is reality. Even though both SE and NE see reality completely differently, I think that some people think, well, they're wrong and I'm right. And like with their preferences, they'll sort of discount other people's preference. Even though for someone to be able to test as an NP, for example, that is their reality. And it doesn't really make sense for some SE users to think that NE users are making everything up in their head. Whenever, if a large population of humanity sees the world in a specific way, then it doesn't really make sense for them both to not be right. So NE and SI is one pairing, and then NI and SE is another pairing. And I think that both of them are seeing and experiencing the same world, but a little bit differently, and the things that they focus on are different. And so this photo, for example, you've probably been staring at it for a second. I'm just going to read to you really quickly what I wrote on my Facebook page about this earlier. NE and SI sees possibilities, which is the multitude of reflections and perspectives. So if you see the red, I'm definitely seeing things right now. If you see the blue square and the yellow circle, those are reflections of reality. They're possibilities of what reality might be. Neither of them are displaying the actual objective physical reality. They're showing possibilities and imaginations of what the objective reality is. AKA, NE is almost like a reflection of SE objective reality. But instead of focusing on SE objective reality, NE users focus on the reflections that objective reality portrays, and those possibilities are endless. NE users will see both the blue square and the yellow circle, and it won't be very confident on what they're seeing. They'll think it could equally be a blue square or it could be a yellow circle. It has a hard time nailing that down because it knows that with the introverted sensing in their back pocket, that what you're seeing is dependent upon your perspective, and your subjective sensory experience and position in the world will influence which one of these perceptions you see. So for example, if you are looking straight ahead at the blue square, then you might think that it's a blue square. And if you're standing right in front of the yellow circle, you might think that instead. You might not even see the blue square. But NE users, everything they see, they're thinking about it through this lens, and so they're always aware that whatever their perception is just a reflection of either themselves or of something else in the world. And the reason why they value people's beliefs so strongly is because they validate that your introverted sensing, your subjective life experience is going to bring you to is going to pull you towards valuing a specific perspective more than others. So NE and SI types are not likely to ever have a fixed perspective on what reality is, because they're so aware that there are so many different angles that you can look at something from. So for the SJs, for example, SI users, the healthier ones will have more developed NE and be a little bit more flexible, but strong introverted sensing users are going to honestly be kind of stubborn in their perspective and think that the square is blue and that's what it is, and have a hard time seeing that why other people think that it's a yellow circle. And this is where the sort of rigidness and stubbornness comes into play. And NI and SE is not even looking at the wall. You have to realize that, and this is why there's so many different communication issues that come up against the two different perceiving types. NI and SE, it's looking at the circular tube thing. Or it is at least trying to see what reality is as clearly as possible. Especially NI dominants, or NJs in general, they're going to be aware that these reflections are they're going to sort of use NE by looking at these reflections as just a way to... Okay, that was confusing. They aren't necessarily using NE, but what I mean to say is that they're going to look at these perceptions and these reflections as a tool to decide what reality is. They aren't going to think it might be a blue square or it might be a yellow circle. They're going to be like, I wonder what the reality actually is if it is causing these two very different seeming reflections to be real in the SE. Because they are real. An NI user would look at like a social conflict, and then they'll see these people are so adamant that this is happening, but these people are so adamant that this is happening. What is actually happening? And they won't really try and pick one perspective, but they'll instead try and find the perspective, the reality. And it's nearly impossible to explain that clearly, to get rid of all bias and to look deeply into the essence of what something is. So I think that NJs, or people with strong introverted intuition, they have a hard time explaining the reality that they see, because they're explaining the root of things, not the reflections that come up. And so all of these projections of what is actually just noise that the NI user is trying to cut through in order to see the essence of reality. And they examine all of these alternative perspectives and they ask, why? What is causing this? What is the pure extroverted sensing reality that is causing everyone to have such a different impression? So I guess the way I sort of see it is that this circular tube thing is SE. Really all of it, everything you're seeing is SE. Extroverted sensing is vast, external, objective, sensory, physical experience. Everything you could see with your eyes, all of your five senses, is extroverted sensing. It is the introverted intuitive part that is really trying to zone in on what is causing these reflections. So I hope that could really help you understand, especially the two different types of intuitives. We all sense and we all intuit, and so this photo applies to each and every one of you, no matter what your type is. But it's specifically helpful in understanding if you're an NJ or an NP, because an NJ is going to be trying to drill down on what is this little box, or what is this little tube thing that is causing all this confusion. What is it, and can we agree on it, and can it incorporate every single every impression that I've ever had? And that's kind of what introverted intuition likes to do. it's connecting and it's organizing its impressions. It's not just having them on a whim and then changing based on the day, wherein any user would walk around and, oh, I think it's a blue square today. Oh, I think it's a yellow circle today. And they are able to roam back and forth between these different perceptions, which is why they're so open and able to understand different people. But they don't take it so seriously. They aren't trying to figure out the root cause necessarily, unless they have to for a relationship purpose or for their job. They're just way more easygoing. They don't need to know what is causing it. They're just aware that reality is multifaceted. People are multifaceted. Everyone has a unique perspective and is going to think something completely different. They don't really bother to try and figure out what the root of and the essence of everything is necessarily. But they are very respectful of other perspectives because they're able to see them very clearly. Whereas NI might be kind of stubborn because they're thinking, well, you aren't even looking at the essence. You're just looking at the wall. Don't you want to put all of these impressions together? Where most people would say, no, NI, that sounds hard. That sounds like it takes a lot of thought, and I don't want to do that. Where a lot of NJs will feel really misunderstood and stressed out, that they feel like they're talking about something that no one else sees, and it's because nobody else honestly gives a shit and wants to see it that badly. Like, it really is the NJs that take everything so seriously, trying to really get to the root of everything that they're doing, be very intentional about everything they're doing, and be very spot on about what they're seeing, and try and get rid of all their biases. And it's kind of intense for people, and there's a reason why NJs are the most rare of all the perceiving types, because, I mean, I don't know, they're the visionaries. NJs are the visionaries, and NPs are adaptable and agile, and can do whatever. They can float from place to place, perspective to perspective, but NJs are the ones that really take a deep look at what they're seeing, and they want to be clear about what they're seeing. They are not wanting to jump to conclusions. Whereas for me, as an ENFJ, I get a little annoyed and peeved at NPs that seem to be jumping to conclusions and not taking the time to see the root of things. Whereas an SE user, for example, will just sort of see what they see, like, oh, it's a circle, and then like later be like, oh, it's a square, but like not really. Like, they'll still have NI and they'll still try and look at what's causing it, but they aren't going to be as focused on all the different impressions. And if someone has an incorrect impression, if they don't see it, then they're kind of just going to take it at face value, and what you see is what you get with them. But if they change their introverted sensing perspective, then they'll see it different, because what you see is what you get. They don't really cling on to one perspective necessarily, but they won't be as obsessive as an NJ is when it comes to being 100% certain about what they're seeing and all of the impressions. Anyway, I hope you liked this video. Like I said, it was kind of something new. It's not really something I normally do, but you know, I'm kind of vibing with just talking into my audio recorder. It makes me kind of want to start a podcast or something. This is fun. If you guys like this sort of content and this style of doing it, please let me know. I'm kind of in the process of reorganizing how I want to do my videos and getting in a more scheduled upload schedule, and maybe incorporating more editing and more visuals and stuff like that, as opposed to just having them be one-off whenever I feel like it things, which I know you guys like those too, and I do want to feel like I'm inspired when I'm doing it. I don't like it when it feels scripted. Even whenever I prepare, I don't want it to feel scripted, because I don't think that that's really that interesting to listen to, in my opinion. I've linked my Facebook group below if you'd like to join. If you have any other questions about NI versus versus NE that you'd like me to do in a video, please let me know. And also, if you didn't know, I did launch a Patreon that I will also link below. I'm going to start doing, if you have any specific videos that you'd like to make sure that I do, and you can, that's one of the rewards of my Patreon. So maybe I'll make another video going more into this. But anyway, I'm linking that below as well. And have a wonderful day, and thank you for listening. Bye.